Hey everybody, Barry here again. Not gonna be a real big one tonight, just want to do an update, and I got a lot of cleaning to do here. I got a bunch of stuff left over that does not need to be in the garage, and it's just in the way. So I'm gonna do an update video and clean this place up, bring some stuff home that I don't need. I got a trailer brought so I can get rid of the van engine, get rid of my mock-up engine, and some various parts like the rear axle of the van, that kind of thing. So get rid of that and I'll be able to actually walk around this thing. And this is our storage for parts and stuff here, and I'm in the way and I don't like it. So let's go ahead and get that done. We'll go over what the plans are for the van, because I do have some new plans, some stuff I want to talk about for newer people that are here, and won't be long, we'll be back at it again. Man, that was a lot of stuff. That's all in the garage, all over the floor, in the way. And we don't need that. So I cleaned it up. And it's a lot better looking now. Whoa, there's floor. We can see floor. That's awesome. Way better. So let's talk some updates. First, I want to talk about the turbos, because I had kind of a change of heart. Mainly because of the size. This Borg is massive compared to this one. And I don't have a lot of room under the hood of this van. Plus the turbo is going to be off the engine, off the passenger side of the engine, about 1.5 feet probably. A foot for sure. And all the extra weight of this thing hanging on that is going to be really, really hard on the mounts, on the manifold studs, and I'll have to make a brace and stuff. And this Mac turbo isn't really that heavy. So I've decided that I'm going to put that Mac turbo on this engine. Main reason is because of size. It'll fit under the hood a lot better. I'll be able to run oil lines better, drain better, exhaust better. And first I thought I'll put the big turbo on the van, but then I was like, I still have the rat rod. I'm building a D-stroke 6-liter for it. Why am I going to put the big turbo on the van, which is just a regular old daily driver, and then put the smaller Mac on the rat rod, when I really, really want the rat rod to make all the power? So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a lot easier job. It's not underpowered, or it won't be undersized by any means, because the rat rod made an insane amount of power with it, with basically the same engine as in this, except mine was cast iron, this one's aluminum. There's no difference whatsoever. And it's going to make it a lot easier on me, so we're going to do that. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the rear end suspension setup. Right now it has ladder bars with an 8.8, and it's about 6 or 8 inches from the floor. Not a lot of room. The stock springs out of this van are like 16 inches, and that's way too much. If I had to make drop brackets in the rear end, it would have to go like 6 inches below the center line of the rear end in order to use all the spring. If I cut them, the springs wouldn't work out, I don't think, because the coils aren't tight together. They're like 1.5 to 2 inches apart, and I think it would cause too much strain on the outer end of the spring and probably break it, and I don't want to have to do this twice. So if anybody knows of a car with a small diameter spring this way and fairly short, like in the 10-inch range, I'll be really happy with that. If you know of anything like that, something I can get at a scrapyard, or even if I can buy them new if they're relatively cheap, that'd be awesome. That would be sweet if you had some suggestions on that. That'd be great. Next is the transmission. And what I have planned for this is actually fairly simple. If I can get it set up here. This is a shifter relocation that I made for the rat rod. So it's kind of hard to stand it up, but this would go up onto the shifter fork up here, which of course is a farther distance away, so I'll just extend this pipe here. And this gets mounted to the floor. so then I can shift like this without having the transmission shifter like right here. I'll just adapt this how I can. Obviously it's going to be a lot higher. It's going to be up like right here somewhere. And this one I actually made from scratch. Made my own brackets, all this stuff here. Just used a rod end here. I think that's like a 916 or 5/8 rod end. And some old eBay shifter. So that'll work fine with the transmission. And I guess next thing to talk about is the engine. It's pretty much the only thing left. You can see how this turbo is so much easier to mount. It's shorter this way. It's smaller on the diameter. And of course, up and down diameter is also smaller. Still has a T6 flange. Oil inlet and outlet are the same. 5-inch exhaust, which I'm going to adapt down to either 4-inch or 3-inch. If I can get away with 4-inch, I will, because bigger pipe diameter, more boost, more, you know, more efficiency, more flow, whatever. But there's not a lot of room here. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of doing a rear log mount manifold, like I had before, which is this. This came down from the driver's side over here, back of the engine toward the front, and then the turbo with the wastegate right here. I think instead of doing that, I'll just have a regular manifold that comes out over here into the turbo here, and potentially do a front dump over here, go down and under the engine, because I have a pile of room down under the damper here, and come up into the turbo over here. If I have to, I could do it like in back of the frame rail here, somewhere behind the bumper. That's fine. So I think that'll work really well. That way my exhaust, now this isn't the final placement of the turbo, it's going to be more straight like this. My exhaust is going to come out and try and sneak down under here. If I can get past this right here and get down between that transmission mount or somewhere like that, I'll pretty much be home free. And then the intake manifold. I have an LS1 intake my buddy Frampton gave me. I also have a truck intake, and I'm really thinking about using the truck intake because I know it'll clear the hood. We were looking at it one day, Frampton and I were looking at it, and we figured out that even with the truck intake on it, the center line of the hood is right here. The truck intake just touches the bottom of the cowl here. So, and it's not as wide as this bracket for the wiper transmission. So if I can just skin it out, like cut along here, like that, and take out this piece, cap it over, I can use a truck intake. I know it's ugly, and it's high, and it makes better torque than the LS1 intake, but I'm not really chasing numbers here. The main reason I want to use a truck intake is because it uses truck style injectors, and on the Cadillac right now, I have decapped injectors that I decapped 20 or 30 injectors, and I found a full set of 70 pounds per hour. So that'll more than do what I need for these. I had 80 pounders in the rat rod last year, and at 6,500 in fourth gear, at 15 pounds, I think I was at 65 or 70% duty cycle. So that's perfectly fine for this. Can be run on like 10 pounds. As for LS1 injectors, they're 26 pounds per hour, and I can't decap them, and I don't have more injectors. So I'm gonna run out of injector really fast. So I'd like to use that truck injector. Or make the LS1 rails adapt to the truck injectors and just use the LS1 intake. But I'll see. In saying that, all of this front mount stuff I did, making my own alternator brackets here with the pulleys, cutting the water pump up, cutting the top off this one, completely unnecessary now that I know everything will fit under the hood. So will I go back to the regular style truck accessories, or will I stay with what I made here? That doesn't cost me anything, only the cost of a couple pulleys, which is probably 25, 30 bucks. I'm not concerned about that really. The belt, I can just change it for the, I think it's 5060936 for the Chev trucks. I can just change it out for that one. And I'll probably have more room for my exhaust to go down around the front if this alternator isn't in the way. So that's something to think about. Next thing I'm going to work on tonight was not much of a work night, just clean up and plans and contemplation on what's going to happen and stuff. The next thing I'm going to work on is the turbo kit. I'm going to get my exhaust sorted out, get an idea of what that is, get the turbo mounted, see if I can plumb the wastegate, get the oil lines done, get the oil filter relocation done, oil drain, that kind of thing. I got lots of room for the rad to go in, check out the intercooler, that kind of thing. I'm going to work on the front section of the van for the next couple of weeks, I guess. The van rolls now, so I can roll it out of the way. When we have car details and stuff going on here, I can just roll it up here out of the way. So I'm not too concerned about the rear end and stuff right away. I don't have the spool put in it yet. I got no rear suspension in it, but the ladder bars are on it, and I got straps tying the rear end up to the frame, so when I put it up on the ramp, it's serving its purpose right now. The van's not ready to move under its whole power anyway, so it doesn't need to be done right away. But I do want to keep progress moving. So I can't wait to see the turbo mounted, and can't wait to see what kind of troubles I get into. So tag along, it's going to get exciting from here on out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.